Hello and welcome to the UTB Blogcast number 58. I am Erica, your host, and with us tonight we have Roy, Dave, and Brad. Say hello.
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 Tonight we're going to start off with talking about the elephant in the room, and that would be the Apple iPhone 7. So, Dave, why don't you start us off with that?
Where to start? Well, I took the opportunity to watch some of the event. I couldn't watch all of it, which is a good thing. But I just about fell out of my chair when Phil Schiller, is that his name, I think? I should know that because I was blogging about it last night or the night before or something. Used the term courage to talk about the removal of the 3.5 millimeter audio headset jack. And I thought that was the most ridiculous misuse of that word that I've seen in forever. And it wasn't just me, obviously, because the next day, if you go and do an internet search on the words iPhone and courage, there's thousands of people writing about it like I did, and none of it is good. So that was a really unfortunate use of the word, Phil. And you should apologize to every courageous person on planet Earth because that's not courageous. And you know what? I can't remember who said this, but I saw somebody else writing in a similar fashion to the way I did. And his point was, if it took courage to take the 3.5 millimeter jack away, what do you call it when you open the box and there's a 3.5 millimeter adapter in there from the lightning port? Is that like anti-courage? Is that like being a chicken shit or something? Anyway, I didn't get to see anything about a watch or any other thing, or I don't know if they talked about MacBooks or anything like that. But I thought it kind of felt, even more lackluster than the last one or whatever, however much I saw about that. Anyway, iPhone
Well, where the
7.
courage comes in, this is where I think the courage comes in, is that they went with the single port on their MacBook and have done nothing but piss off their customers. It's all been a matter of pissing off their customers and everybody complaining about it. And even knowing how much they screwed that up, they still did it with the iPhone. So the courage is that we're going to piss off even more customers and hear more bitching about it by doing it to the product that payrolls our entire company.
Yeah, well, it's further gathering the existing Apple lovers, and gathering them closer to their Apple chest, and keeping them or increasing the lockdown nature of their gear, because now it's harder to use third-party headphones or pieces of equipment. And now you've got proprietary wireless earbuds that probably won't work with anything else because it's a W1 chip or something in it, and I guess that's what you need to talk to the mate of that chip in order to just get hooked up. I don't know how proprietary it is, but I'm assuming that it is. Not going to be
It's still using Bluetooth. You'll still be able to use those ear boners with the other phones. But
Air boners?
Ear boners.
Oh.
Where have you been, Roy? They're ear boners. That's all that they are. You got a little phallic symbol hanging out of your ear. That's exactly what you've got.
Yeah, that's what my new avatar says right there.
Yeah, exactly.
I got him.
It looked like my electric toothbrush.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that on the channels today.
Yeah.
But their new tech that communicates with the phones, that's the part that is proprietary to them. The whole, not having to connect it to your phone, which, I mean, honestly, how many other speaker companies have put NFC into their headphones and into their speakers so that we don't have to do that either? You just tap your phone to it and you're instantly connected through the Bluetooth. So
Yeah.
Apple's just done a different way of doing it without having to open up their NFC. They can still keep that just for something that's going to make them money, which is Apple Pay.
Well, I don't know. I'm wondering how. I just don't know for sure how open those earbuds, or what did you call them? Ear boners, yeah, are going to be. The fact that you have to have an iCloud account to even get them hooked up speaks volumes to me. So I don't have an iCloud account, and therefore I don't think I could ever use them.
Well, you need the iCloud account to use them with an iPhone. Like, I mean, I can't imagine anybody without an iPhone wanting those ugly-ass things sticking out of their ears. That's totally something that only iPhone users are going to want. But, that was the news today. Oh, it'll work with other phones too. Yippee. But, I mean, look at those things. And you can't tell me that's part of the technology of why they have that dangler hanging out of the ear. It's Apple is giving up. I mean, you go back to the iPod, and one of the big things about the iPod, one of the things that got all of us out buying those iPods, were those stinking white headphones. Those cables. That was part of their advertising. You could look across, I'm thinking back to where I was, and I would look across my college campus, and you'd see somebody with the white earphone cables, and they had an iPod. It was all a matter of show. And so what they've done with these new AirPods is they've taken their regular earpods, whatever you want to call them, and left, I mean, you look at it, it looks like the exact same mold. They just left something there so that people would see them. And I think they screwed it up this time. I think Johnny Ive is just, I think he's done. I totally think he's done. I mean, you look at what's happened with this iPhone. They've taken the AirPods and made them look absolutely ridiculous. They've made them look like something that I will not be able to see them in public and not laugh at the person wearing them. And then they've taken their iPhone and woohoo, they've made something black. Whoa. And what did they do? They polished it up to make it look really nice in photos. But if you read any of the people's comments about that today, as people are rushing out and pre-ordering them, even the display models that they had there at the show was already scratched up like halfway through the show. So, I mean, good luck with that, people.
Well, you know how to fix that. Just put a big-ass case around it and, problem solved.
That's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But, okay, how about this? What about all those people that stick that square reader in their headphone jack and scan cards?
I'm sure Square's already got a lightning port coming out. And you know what that means? It means that Square is putting more money into another product that they'll sell for pretty much nothing because they make their money off of the service, the revenues it generates, right? So they sell that for practically nothing. So it's an added cost to them. But at the same time, they're licensing that from Apple. So Apple is suddenly making money off of Square that they weren't making before.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. They've
Exactly.
taken away third-party access for $0.
Right.
That was the whole play, and it has nothing to do with moving forward unless you're moving your wallet, your Apple wallet forward as a shareholder or, it's I laughed until I cried. I don't know. It's so unnecessary. What can you do besides laugh?
Just as an aside, because I'm only going to call those things ear boners from here on out, and you just think back for a minute. Now we have ear boners. Before we had the iPad boner. Remember the
Oh, yeah.
The Apple Pen that recharges by sticking it out of the iPad and just looking absolutely phallic.
Bonerish. Yeah.
Did you hear what the slogan is being read as in China for the iPhone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I saw that.
So 7.
Yeah. Something's going on over at Apple. I don't know.
Yeah. Ding dongs. Or something.
How about the iPhone itself? So we know the headphone jack is gone. They've got 2 new colors of black. The phone looks almost exactly the same. It does have stereo speakers that we thought it wouldn't have because it's not where you think it would be from all the leaked pictures. Because you look at the bottom of the leaked pictures and you have the 2 speaker grills at the bottom. And one of those speaker grills is actually the microphone, which is something that we found out through leaks before. But I guess there is a second stereo speaker at the top of the phone, which we didn't know about. So Apple has finally stepped into, say 2010?
Something like that. I think that's a great feature. I'm glad those poor people finally have the ability to do that. Apart from that, whatever. It's just a faster, boring slab.
Their dual lens camera at this point, there's really no point for. They've got a wide angle lens and a regular angle lens, but they've really got nothing that's going to affect at this point. But more to come on that. Coming soon, I guess. And then trying to think of what else is going on. They've extended their partnership with Nike to where they have a Nike branded Apple Watch. That, I mean, in all honesty, looking at the design of it, it's the best looking Apple Watch I've seen because it looks a little more modern, a little more sporty, but it's still the crappy Apple Watch. It just has Nike on it. And I can understand those 2 companies working together. I mean, they can share child labor. So good for them.
It's not funny, but it is.
I think when you announce Super Mario on iOS or something like that, that really means that you have nothing new to announce. You can announce any game whenever you want. You don't need a big event to announce Super Mario is coming to iOS. Really? Super Mario?
Yeah. That and Pokemon Go on your watch.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
I just checked the smartwatches market share, and I saw that Fitbit is the best-selling smartwatch, and Apple Watch decreased in the last year. So, yeah, Pokemon Go. That's what they needed in this watch.
Yeah. And then what? The battery on the watch will go dead in under an hour. Right? What a worthless frickin' thing to put on your wrist.
I just found it funny watching, because I mean, I wasn't watching the event, but I was keeping an eye on Twitter as it was happening, and you had your usual suspects out there. You had, RR, who was just getting all besides himself about every single thing they announced. You had, your typical VGR sites that's trying to tell you why this is cool when it's not. But then you had a lot of these other sites, a lot of the just general tech sites that I'm used to seeing being very excited about Apple products that were taking serious jabs throughout the thing. Even one of the sites that I actually really enjoy the site, even though they do tend to, trash us. I mean, not us ourselves, but BlackBerry users and the brand. And they do tend to support Apple, but CNET, and it's a site I enjoy. And they were taking some some jabs at Apple during the thing. But then, you come back today and they've got a bunch of positive news about Apple. But I just seeing media's reaction, whether this is a successful device or not, which I guess we really won't know since Apple suddenly decided not to announce sales figures, media's getting tired of it. The tide is definitely turning. Do I think that next year they're going to be in the same boat that, BlackBerry is right now? Of course not. But they've peaked. They've definitely peaked. They're going to have to pull an amazing rabbit out of the hat next year with the iPhone 8, which the users are already hoping for. Before the 7 came out, users were talking about, well, what's the iPhone 8 going to be? What's the iPhone 8 going to be? Because they knew that the 7 was going to be nothing special. Let's see what else they have phallic shaped next year when they come out with the next phone.
I think that on the iPhone 8 you will be able to dial the numbers when you want to talk, and you will be able to send an SMS. Apple taking to innovate.
Yeah, to new heights.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to start a rumor that the 7S is going to have wireless charging, so everybody will wait for that. That was one of the tweets, and I don't know who did it. It was someone that I don't follow, but it was retweeted by someone that I followed that said, if Apple's so courageous about going wireless, why don't they have wireless charging?
Because they can't charge more money about it.
They've got to find some way to do it with...
I have a question. I don't know much about music, but Bluetooth airburners or whatever you call it, the sound quality is not less than the wired headphones?
I think that remains to be seen or heard, as it were. Bluetooth in general has not a knock on it, but it struggles to be as good as wired headsets or earbuds. So I don't know what they're doing with this W1 or W10 or whatever the hell chip.
So basically, Apple, a company that have Beats and Apple Music, saying to their customers, hey, you're gonna hear some bad quality music. You will have to, and sounds funny.
Well, they're stating that their technology is going to make their Bluetooth headphones sound better. I am not an audiophile. I'm not out there buying expensive headphones because I just want to hear my stuff. It just needs to be clear. I really don't care. But it does. Wired headphones do sound better than Bluetooth. I have a lot of Bluetooth headsets. Ask Dave. I have a problem. I buy entirely too many. But just like the only time I've really plugged in is in my car, and my car has Bluetooth, my car has the aux cable, and I do prefer to plug it in through aux cable than to stream. It just sounds better. Apple's saying that they fixed that. We'll find out. We'll see once they actually get into people's hands. But before the announcement, even Wozniak was telling Apple, don't do it.
No, I know. And he is, or at least he purports himself to be a bit of an audiophile, and I tend to trust more what he says.
In all honesty, they are saying that the Lightning cables will provide a better audio experience than the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and maybe it will. I don't know, and I'm fairly certain I'll never find out. Regardless of what Anthony says, I'm not going to go out there and buy an iPhone.
Yeah, neither am I. But that's a digital, audio converter to analog, and it's only as good as that component. So it could be the same as, it could be worse, or it could be better. I have no idea. Time will tell.
Anything else special about Apple, or should we go on and talk about, BlackBerry?
Real stuff.
I don't care about it anymore.
It's all apples and blackberries.
Except
right?
it is interesting to note that, or see their stock take a nosedive. I mean, is that normal?
Yeah, it always
Okay.
is whenever they have an announcement. I mean, I don't know. In the time that we've been around as UTB and paying attention to it, that's fairly normal. But also during the time that we've been around and been UTB, Apple's been putting out shit phones. So, I mean, you've got people looking at this announcement, and it's like, oh, God, this is what they're doing. The stocks always go down, and for crying out loud, they always come back up. Ugh.
Indeed. Moving right along.
Erica,
All right, well,
pull us out of
yes.
this mess.
Yes, let's talk a little bit more about what BlackBerry has going on this week. There was an announcement that came out that said the Priv will be coming out to South Korea this month. So it's kind of exciting to see a little bit more of expanding into other markets.
Yeah, if North Korea doesn't blow them up first, they'll be
Wow.
they'll be enjoying the Priv on September the 20th, and somebody's birthday that day.
It's the best day of the year, I just have to say.
There you go.
I think it's South Korea, not North Korea.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just that North Korea is right next door, so I made a blow-up joke because they were blowing shit up, you know.
I don't think North Korea have a 3G or even 2G technology.
There might be
Or-
one guy that has it.
Or they know even what is smartphones or technology in that country.
Yeah. But anyway, it's good to see South Korea, you know, get another choice. I think it was something like 3 years ago that, well, it wasn't just BlackBerry, but a bunch of people, Motorola, some other people.
HTC, Nokia.
Yeah, they weren't there, or they left as well. And not the most unexpected thing in the world, considering that Samsung's home, you know, that's where they live. So no kidding, Samsung would be a dominant player there. So it's good to see BlackBerry get back in there. I don't know how well they're going to do in the first year, but the fact that they're going back in there must mean they've got a positive view on it. Otherwise, I don't think they'd waste their time and money. So I'm jiggy with that.
It's a market that belongs to Android, so it will be much easier to penetrate this market.
Yeah, with
than
a
other
different
markets.
choice, yeah.
Yeah.
Something with a little less bloatware.
Yeah.
It's nice
Buy
to see
BlackBerry
too.
if you don't want your Jeep go blow up.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's nice to see that they're still rolling out the Priv too, as opposed to just
Yeah.
going straight to the D-Tech.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Do you think the Priv has a better chance of selling at that in that market?
I don't know. I've never been to South Korea, but from what I've seen and read, they're you know, they're first world. You know, they're you know, got lots of big city action going on, and you know, it's not a third world place; it's a first world place, and so there's money, and so you know, you know, I don't know how much inventory there is of that product, but I think it's a great way to test your market. And if you get a little bit of traction, then it's another place you can bring out your future products and existing ones like the D-Tech.
And the Priv has gotten a little more affordable since it first came out too.
Yeah, fair comment.
I mean, honestly, I think if the Priv hadn't come out at that price and had come out, you know, even here in the U.S. or up in Canada at the price it's running right now, it would have had a much better chance than it ended up having.
Yeah.
And I just gotta say, you know, I've really, and sorry Anthony, sorry True North, I've really just fallen in love with my Priv. You know, I really have, and you guys know how long it took me to even give that phone a chance, and it took a long time to accept the Android side of it. I'm still not entirely sure if I have fully accepted the Android side of it, but the slider form factor is just so great. Like, I love it. I use it to its fullest. I use the keyboard. I use the virtual keyboard. The different things that I'm doing gives me a completely different use case, and the Priv is able to function however I want it to. I'm an old Torch guy. I had the Torch 9800. I had the Torch 9810. Loved those phones, and I think it's what it is for me, is just a return to that slider form factor with the BlackBerry keyboard and my BlackBerry calendar and my BlackBerry tasks and the things that I'm used to. Granted, it's on Android, but I really love that phone. It is my, I hate to say it because it is Android and not BB10, but I think it's been my favorite BlackBerry phone recently, primarily since I lost it and went without it for a weekend.
Yeah, it's like heroin, man. You were, you were not doing good without your crack.
It's true though, because like I still love my Passport. I still love my BlackBerry 10 phones. But when I go and I use my Passport or my Classic, like I did when I was without my Priv, as like right now, I can jump back to my Priv. It's like I have different use cases. I have different things I use my phones for, and I jump from one to the other. And when suddenly I'm not able to do that with my Priv anymore, I realize just how much I rely on that phone.
Well, let me ask you this, Brad, because I know that you struggled with the Priv until it was updated, especially with some of the hub updates.
Yes.
And we had a comment on one of our posts today from Bert with a question that kind of ties into that. He asked, have you guys and gal have taken advantage of the new hub widget on the Priv or DTEC? By setting it up as a standalone screen to the left of your home screen, it mimics the BB10 hub. With some further tweaking and some discipline in the way you navigate, I dare say it's actually better. So have you guys had a chance to mess around with that feature that he's talking about?
Yeah, the new widget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. You can setting up what you want to see in the widget, and it's pretty easy. Just in the beginning, I swipe up my finger, and every time I open the device search until I succeed to do it. But it's really great. You can basically open the hub without opening really the hub. It's not like BB10, but it's a start.
It's very close, and I'm going to say something you guys probably wouldn't expect me to say, but head over to BerryFlow, and James did a tutorial on it. And I saw the widget, and I didn't think twice about it because I'm not that big of a fan of widgets. And then somebody sent me his tutorial today, and I watched it, and it's a great tutorial, and I got all excited. It's like, this is awesome. This is BlackBerry 10. And I immediately put it on my phone, and it lasted about 5 minutes. I don't like it. What a lot of people want is that BlackBerry 10 experience of the peak, right? Well, the peak's not there. You don't have the peak. You have that swip. I don't even know. I'm not sure. I want to show you guys what's on my hub. I'm not sure what's there right now, but oh well. From your home screen, you can do that same motion that you always had on BlackBerry 10 to get to your hub. I do use that. I like that. When you have the setup, as James over there showed you how to do it, you can swipe to the right. See, I don't have it on there anymore, and pull up your hub, which is, it's great, if that's what somebody wants. But the whole reason that I would swipe to the right was to peek, and you really don't have that same peek feeling. But what I do love about it is what BlackBerry has done with the 3 dots, which the 3 dots, when you see the 3 dots underneath an app, you can swipe up on the app and it pulls up the widget. And I have been using that today. If you just swipe up on the hub icon, which I'm not doing right now because I'm doing it sideways, but it pulls up the widget. I love that. So like I am using the widget, but I'm not using it in that method. But what's great about the widget is like there's 3 different methods right there with that widget that you can use to get to your hub. Plus you have your app icon. I mean it's awesome what BlackBerry's doing. It really is.
In the widget portion, I only played with it for about 2 minutes and kind of forgot about it because a dog with a curly tail went by or something. And but I noticed that all the messages had the same icon. Is that still that way? Like BBM looks like a mail message.
No. You might not have set up your views right, because when you do set up the widget, you set up your views as to what you want going into your hub.
Okay.
Like I set it up to have everything in there on the widget, but you could set it up just to have like your primary email or your primary email in BBM. You know, just like your regular hub, you can set up what is shown in there. So I mean, the first time you use your widget, you have to set it up. I'm betting you just set up one account.
Yeah, well, I just looked in there and I saw all my messages were in there, but the BBMs had a mail icon.
You screwed something up, Dave.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time, and it's certainly not going to be the last.
What's up, Alpha?
What's up, guys? I'm here.
You made it.
Yes, I made it. And just to reiterate what Brad was saying, I love my Priv. I've fallen in love with it also, to the point where I actually like it better than my Passport now, which is shocking for me to say because I never thought I would like another phone better than my Passport. But the Priv has totally won me over. Not so much because of Android, but because of what BlackBerry has done with Android. So I agree with Brad 100%. The Priv is an incredible device.
Were you a Torch user, Alpha?
Yep, had both torches.
I'm wondering if that's I wonder if that's a defining thing for us. I really do.
I don't know. I was a Torchy guy too. And back in those days, and I've said this before, so what are you going to say it again for? I don't know. You know, you could have slid my Torch open and found a pristine, untouched hardware keyboard. I don't know why. I was just more of an on-screen guy, which was the reason getting a Z10 on day one was a no-brainer for me. I wasn't worried about not having a physical keyboard. Anyway, ever since then, I've re-educated myself, and the Passport really hammered it home for me. That keyboard is the best ever, I think. Anyway, that's just me. And I love the combination of having that hardware keyboard with some of the on-screen stuff there. And so I sincerely appreciate the Priv's hardware keyboard when I want to use it. And as silly as it sounds, I love opening it up and turning the phone landscape and turning on the camera and using the space bar for the shutter. For me, it's such a great way to hold the phone, which is now your camera, and you don't have your finger on the screen to try and take a picture, which inevitably moves the device and, you know, may or may not cause a fuzzier picture when that didn't need to happen. So I use that all the time, as silly as it sounds. That's one of my favorite uses for it, and of course, I even use it for scrolling around websites and whatnot. So I appreciate the thing, even though my use of the keyboard for its letters is probably 20% as opposed to 80%.
I use the heck out of physical keyboard. I really do. And like I keep looking at the D-Tech, and it's a BlackBerry. I want it, but I don't think that it would take the place. I'm a Tim Allen. You know, Tim Allen tweeted was it yesterday about getting to play with the D-Tech and what a great phone it was, but how it wasn't going to replace his Priv because of you know, the hardware keyboard and things of that nature. I feel exactly the same way. I can't give up that keyboard. And what I notice differently about my Passport, my Priv, and I know we're going weeks back here. This is old news. This isn't something we should be talking about, really. But I never use the capacitive aspect of my Passport keyboard unless I had it sideways and I was using it to scroll through websites. That was the only thing I ever used it for. Never flicked words. I used the heck out of the capacitive keyboard of it.
I did.
Yeah,
It was a natural for me coming from a Z30 anyway.
I never. It's funny because I rarely use the software keyboard on the Priv. I'm not a virtual keyboard fan at all, and hardware keyboards are where it's at for me. And I am always on the hardware keyboard on my Priv.
Yeah, go ahead.
I use the flick up on the hardware keyboard all the time. I think it's amazing.
Me too.
The other thing that I really like on the hardware keyboard is one-button access to apps or functions.
Yes.
That's killer.
Yes. I think that is amazing.
You don't get that on a software keyboard.
No. I really.
What are we talking about? What?
We were talking about the hub widget, and why don't we go ahead and talk a little bit more about the other updates that came through for the G1050 and the Hub Plus subscriptions with all the add-ons with the task and the calendar and everything that came out this week.
The important things was that Lollipop users can have it now, which is really important to me because when it initially came out and I was running around telling everyone I know, okay, you've got to get these BlackBerry apps on your phone, I quickly discovered that everyone I know with Android phones is still on Lollipop. So, except for the phones that we got my folks, which are the idols, those were the only people I was able to get on those BlackBerry apps. And that's a pretty sad statement for these other phones because, I mean, I know a lot of people on Android phones, and these are not cheap Android phones. They are the Samsung Galaxies. They're the HTCs. They are the expensive phones. And nobody was on Marshmallow. It's really pitiful. So when people are sitting there complaining that, you know, BlackBerry's late getting Marshmallow on, because you remember we heard that a lot. I'm sorry, man. They weren't late because my Priv is on Marshmallow, and the only people that I was able to get BlackBerry services on their Android phones around me were my folks on the little idols because everybody with the Samsung Galaxies, everybody with the LG, forget what it's called, and the Moto, they were all on Lollipop. And that's a sad statement for American carriers. I get that, but still, BlackBerry wasn't late.
Has anybody heard anything about I remember a while back they were saying that BlackBerry was working on a way of trying to update unlocked Privs that were on carriers that were carrier branded, like the AT&T Priv. Has anybody heard anything about that?
I haven't heard anything else on that. I know they were trying.
Yeah, I actually steered a few people to the BlackBerry support page for them to reload the OS because they had AT&T branded Privs, but they were unlocked and using it on T-Mobile or on Metro PCS, and they didn't have an AT&T SIM card. I happen to have an AT&T SIM card, but I'm on T-Mobile also. So I just popped my AT&T SIM card in there and update, but they didn't. So I had to steer them towards the BlackBerry support page so they could reload the OS to get whatever updates were available.
And you're talking about the auto loaders they put out?
Yes.
Okay.
Because there was a huge amount of AT&T branded unlocked Privs that hit the market. People were buying it off of eBay and all that. So I know that that's a lot of people that are not getting the updates the way that they should. And I mean, honestly, the people on AT&T aren't getting the updates that they should either. So I mean, that is a great thing that they have those autoloaders there, but we're still being hindered by our carriers.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I don't think BB's alone in that regard. So
no, they're not.
No, they're not. They're not at all. I saw. I think it was the. I think I just read that the Galaxy Note 4 on AT&T just got updated to Marshmallow as of today, I believe, or as of yesterday, something like that, which is pitiful. Absolutely pitiful.
well, they can't update their Note 7s. Because that plan just blew up in their face.
And I know that that's not on our list, right, Erica? The whole Note 7 thing?
No, we talked about it last week.
I know we talked about it last week, but I just want to point out that if you want to read all this information about the Note 7 blowing up, just run over to any Apple site right now. They are having a field day with the Note 7 blowing up. And it just strikes me as funny that they've ignored and ignored and ignored how many blown up iPhones. But man, they're jumping all over every single Note 7 that blows up. And I mean, I can't say I blame them, because I jump all over the iPhone blowing up. But at the same time, I think if suddenly there is a story of, a BlackBerry Priv blowing up, we'd have to report it. We'd have to say it. They're not.
Yeah.
I don't remember any BlackBerry blowing up in the history.
I do. There was a guy. Yeah, I've seen it.
Totally
I've seen
happened.
video of it, and there was a guy who did it in Australia, if you may recall, on purpose.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's how productive he is. But no, I mean, I remember if you can search out BlackBerry explosion, whatever, and it was an old BBOS device. I remember seeing, I think it was an old Curve or something that blew up while it was charging. So,
that was in England, yeah.
So it's happened, but I don't think it's happened with any of their modern phones. Nothing that's been reported anyway.
Yeah.
No, it hasn't, and I mean that just goes to show you the time and the care that BlackBerry takes when it comes to building and designing their phones, as opposed to Samsung, obviously, who's having a very explosive time with their Note 7s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Samsung can now setting up a deal with the U.S. military. They can sell the Note 7 as a hand grenade.
Yeah. Fire in the hole! Fire in your hand! Fire in your Jeep!
Charging!
Yeah.
21, 20.
Yeah. What can you do?
Don't buy a Note 7.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah, I guess rushing it to market was not a good idea. Yeah, they blew it. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's assault and battery, only it's assault with a battery. Something like that. Somebody please change the subject before I think of another stupid joke.
Well, the last thing I have on my list is the return of Snap on BlackBerry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is such an awesome thing. I mean, when I left my passport alone for the longest time and didn't try any of the beta OSs like 1033, I think it was a 700 series, or anything, because that's the last thing I wanted to do was lose that. Because as soon as you do it and tried to reinstall the old one, it wouldn't let you back in again. And so many people found that out the hard way. And then, so how many months was it? Must be, what, 6 or 8 months that it was in that state, and now finally people get to have it back because it's such a cool program. And many kudos and thanks to Cobalt for his way of getting things done for people too. I just sort of I love that. It's another way to get it done. Slightly more complicated, but totally doable. But Snap was such a one-stop shop, man, and it's back. So kudos to the dev for getting that done. It's brilliant. And the version 3, I think can you buy paid apps right that way, or do you still have to go to the website? I forget.
I think you can buy them now. I think that was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
There is no
version 3
in the site.
No?
No, isn't so. And the screenshots are from version 2, so
right.
I think version 3 was was the major feature was that you could purchase apps. But I've been wrong before, and getting up this morning was one of those times. That was an error, must say. Yeah.
It was kind of nice to see how many people were very excited about that too. You know, kind of nice to see how many people are still using and enjoying BlackBerry 10.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, again, kudos to the dev. He's a much loved human being in the BlackBerry 10 community. That's for sure.
Alpha, are we in your pocket?
No, I'm actually in front of my fan. Let me move from there.
You have fans?
Yes, I have fans.
They're feeding you grapes right now.
Where I live, you get AC and they charge you extra on your rent. So we decided to just stay with fans for now. And I mean, it works. We got window fans, but I just happened to be in front of it because I had to go over there and grab something from that area.
If you're a Windows fan, what are you doing on here? I don't get it.
Wow.
Shit. They changed the subject and it didn't work.
That was a good one.
Oh well. Take a picture.
Did Erica disappear on us? Did she take a nap?
Probably. If she's smart. Oh, there she is.
I'm still here. Calm down. I was just gathering my thoughts so that I could derail Dave.
Yeah, please do.
We do have some questions and comments from our query earlier in the week. So I'm going to run through them real quick. First of all, big shout out to Nayom, who has named me the Empress of Awesome Gun. Thank you for that. Pavan asked about BlackBerry 10 and software and apps and if it will run in the future. So do we want to reiterate our thoughts on the future of BlackBerry 10 real quick for him?
Sure, why not? BlackBerry 10, I think it's been stated on numerous occasions by BlackBerry themselves, from various employees, from John Chen down, that BlackBerry 10 is not going away. 10.3.3 will come out as soon as it's approved by its intended audience for security reasons. That's when it's going to come out. There's no point in bringing it out unless it is approved. Otherwise, it's just kind of a waste of time, in my humble opinion. And yes, the rumors of it having more features are probably going to be false. I heard a rumor that the browser's been improved, but that's about it. And then the rest of the things in there are security measures in order to get a higher security ranking. Now I can't remember the organization that's reviewing and sort of holding things up. Is it NIAP?
Yeah.
NIAP? Yeah.
Well, it's a NIAP certification, but is it them doing it? Because with the what we saw where it showed the progress wasn't the same site that you normally go look at.
No, that was a Canadian version
Right.
of the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I was.
It's Canada's version of NEAP, I guess, and so maybe Canada has approved it and NEAP hasn't, and so they're not going to bother putting it out yet, or the other way around. Not sure. You'd think that if NIAP had approved it, we'd all know that the very next
Right.
day. But and I don't even remotely pretend to understand what the procedure is to get approved, or what the testing involves, or what, because it's not just going to be one guy sitting in a room going, "Yep, it seems to do that now," and then they let it out. You know, that's not it. There's going to be a large battery of tests and a committee, and you know how those things go. So it wouldn't shock me at all if BlackBerry had to go back to the excuse me, drawing board and manipulate something. When you think about how much time's gone by, it wouldn't shock me at all if NEAP said, "No, I think this little piece here, you need to go, fix that up a little bit." Who knows? There's no way it would be out. There's no way it wouldn't have been out sooner. When you're going through those procedures, you want to get them out of the way ASAP. And they want those certifications.
Exactly. They want it. That's the thing, because somebody said on the channel, and I'm not sure if that's who Erica was speaking of, but somebody said on the channel that, BlackBerry needs to get this done. The silence is deafening. BlackBerry hasn't been silent. They haven't been. People are complaining that there's all these updates for Android and there's no updates for BlackBerry 10. I get it. As a BlackBerry 10 user, it's like, I want what I want, and I want it now. And I'm exactly like them. I want to see a browser update. That's really the only thing I want. I just want an updated BlackBerry 10 browser. That's all. I can't think of really anything else I want in BlackBerry 10. But people are getting frustrated because it's taking a long time. But BlackBerry has not been silent. They've been very upfront. They said it last year, that the focus this year is on Android, and there's going to be 2 updates, and these updates are going to be security-focused updates, and that these updates have to be certified by this third party. They've told us everything. They told us a long time ago. Nothing that's taken place this year should come as a surprise to anybody. And BlackBerry has been far from silent. They've told us what's going on. And I guarantee you, John Chen and Marty Beard and everybody at BlackBerry wants that NIAP certification to come out faster than we do, because they know that every day that it goes by that it's not out, that's beyond the deadline that they thought they could achieve, is hurting them. It's pissing off BlackBerry 10 users. I guarantee you they know what's being said out there, but it's out of their hands. And
it is.
And once they have that NIAP certification, that can open it up for more business or maintain more business. And trust me, they're not holding it off. They're not being silent. They're not trying to screw over BB10. They need the cells of those devices. And I mean, just enough, guys. I understand the frustration, but the blame, that there is no blame to be laid, and you can't say that, oh, he lied to us, because they didn't. They told us exactly what they're doing. Yeah. And once you're living through a year, it seems like a lot longer. Because when they told us that last year, it's like, oh, it's just a year, it's fine. Well, here we are, almost a year later, a couple months shy of a year later, and it seems like a blasted long time. I get that, but there hasn't been any lies. They told us that.
Yeah, and I can guarantee you one thing. 6 seconds after 10.3.3 comes out, somebody's going to be asking, where's 10.3.4? It'll take 6 seconds, and I'm being generous.
All right, we have another question on the channel from JP, and it's a little different. He said BBM was one of the first messaging apps to support the Apple Watch, and Android watches. Any chance that BlackBerry teams up with a wearable manufacturer for a deal like they did with the Alcatel reference design? So what do you guys think? Do you think they might team up with someone for a wearable device? Or could they?
Oh, I'd love to see that. I mean, I'm not convinced that I would be an early adopter of that. I'm so on the fence of a wearable, but
You're full of it, Dave.
I'm full of it. I'm on the fence of a wearable, and I'm full of it.
I know you, and you might think wearables are stupid. I'll never wear one. But the minute you see those BlackBerry bullets on one, you're gonna go, "Oh, it's my birthday. I'll go ahead and buy it."
Okay. Okay, listen. I said I was on the fence. Maybe you can knock me off the fence with a feather. I don't know. I'm just on the fence. I've seen Fitbits that I've gone, oh, push the buy button, and then no. I've seen the Apple Watch, and I fall laughingly off of my chair. I've seen early attempts from Samsung, which are jokes. And I've seen some very beautiful pieces of equipment come out that are semi-functional, or sort of dumbed down, like just messaging notifiers kind of thing, and it's actually a really nice watch. And gone, wow, that's $2 or $3 or whatever $100. I could see that. The thing that bugs me about that form of wearable so far is, and I'll use the Apple Watch as an example again, look at all of those adopters who are now staring the Apple Watch 2 in the face and looking at what, they're anywhere from $4 to I don't know how many hundreds of dollars they invested in that is now worthless. And I don't need something that is worthless in under a year. I don't want that. I don't need to be charging that. I've seen the Pebble Steel 2. That looks really cool. I'm very curious about that. But I'm waiting for the whole thing to sort of mature just a little bit more before I kind of get off the fence. Maybe you're right, Brad. If BlackBerry teamed up with somebody and stuck those 7 bullets on there, maybe I'd go hop in my car, because you do know me. Oh, look, the passport came out on my birthday. Duh, get in the car. Take the day off, go get in the car. That's Dave. Yeah. Same thing with the Priv. Same thing with the Z30, same thing with the Z10, over and over again. That's me. And maybe you're right.
I would love to see a BlackBerry Pebble, and the only reason I say that is because, like, there are a lot of nice-looking Android Wear watches out there, but they'd be useless to me. I want something that I don't have to charge every single day. That is the breaking point for me. I've got my Fitbit. I wear it all the time, and I charge it about once a week. The thing I like about the Pebble, and I'm on the Kickstarter for the Pebble 2. I'm just waiting for it. I want my Pebble 2 now, but it lasts a week. You've got a 10-day battery life on it. You can get it wet. You can swim with it. Those are just things.
Unlike your Priv.
Unlike my Priv. Got it.
Got to get that in there. Yeah.
I can't imagine a watch that you have to charge every night. I just cannot imagine that.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I just won't do that. That's way too much. I got enough. I mean, look around my house. You can see battery chargers all over the place for 2 different quadcopters, different phones, for my laptop, this and that, the other thing. I got more chargers than Walmart. But... I'm just not going to go anywhere near a wearable that I have to charge every day. Not doing
Actually, there is one wearable. There's one design, one fan-made design that I would absolutely kill for, and it's what Blackjack made, the Hub watch. Remember?
Oh yeah.
It was just the hub on the face of a watch, and that was such a good idea. I would kill for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sign me up, BlackBerry. Go do that. Yeah. Thanks, Blackjack. I'll buy one.
What about you guys? Shut up, Dave. Shut up, Brad. What about you guys?
Well, I have a I actually have a Martian smartwatch. It's just a notification smartwatch. It's very inexpensive. Saw it online. It's just for notifications, and it gives me all my notifications for whatever apps, even BBM, phone calls, everything. And I don't have to. I only have to charge it once every 4 or 5 days. Actually works pretty well. So when, like you were saying, I don't understand smartwatches that have to be charged every night or something like that. That totally defeats the purpose to me.
Yeah, it's a killer thing having something on your wrist where you have to worry about managing how much time you're going to get out of it. And again, going back to the beginning of this blogcast, the hell are you doing playing Pokemon Go on your freaking Apple Watch?
Apple Watch, yeah.
Bonehead.
I'm using the Fitbit Charge, and I bought in London the Fitbit Alta because it's much nicer look. And I think we all want BlackBerry to expand the lineup with tablets, with smartwatches, or any other product that we can dream on. But for now, to answer the question, to really answer the question, I don't think BlackBerry should focus on this kind of products. They should continue to build the lineup of the smartphones and the security measures, and that's what most important. When BlackBerry will have the mobility, the mobility solution, it's called. How was it called now?
Yeah, I think you're right. Mobility
Yeah,
solutions is that's the all-encompassing thing, including handsets. Yeah.
When we will see market share is raising up and BlackBerry will report tons of money, I think we will see smartwatches and tablets and whatever we want, even a PC if they have money to do that.
Yeah. You know what? Thanks for answering the question, actually, Roy, because I was too full of crap to do it.
But secure communication is the most important now for BlackBerry.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point there too, and that is when you start opening up, and including additional devices, you have to care about that thing's security too, not just the security of the device it's connecting to. So it's more of an endeavor for BlackBerry, I think, than someone else who couldn't care less about the basic security of the platform. It's a bigger deal.
When we will see a hacking to a smartwatch, then we will see BlackBerry jumping into this market.
Yeah, possibly. And Lord only knows with that that thing, the security problem you could drive a freaking truck through for Apple that got fixed a couple of weeks ago. For all we know, they've been staring at you through your Apple Watch for I don't know how long.
And playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Through your Apple Watch.
Yeah, right. Because that's what I need to do.
Let's finish off with some questions and comments from one of our readers, Anthony. First of all, he asked Dave, he wants to know if the G-Tech selfie camera is any good. He says that you should know.
I should know? Because I don't have one?
That's his comment.
All right. Well,
so there's
what I
your
know...
answer, Anthony. We don't know.
What I know is that the D-Tech has an 8 meg front facing camera, and the Priv has a 2 megapixel front facing camera. So the D-Tech 50 is 4 times better.
And it has a flash.
Yeah. And it has a front flash. See?
Yeah.
So I knew something, and Brad knew something else, even though neither of us has that phone. So.
Well, Robert, who has, 17 of them by now and has his wife on one, he said she loves the selfie cam.
Right on.
Now,
Except
Roy got to play with one.
Yeah, I did it on my my video review.
Yeah. It was a big difference.
Yeah, really big difference.
So
All right.
I'm going to say it's excellent. Go buy one right now.
He also wants to know if there have been any rumors for a next generation passport. Now, I haven't heard anything.
I think the next generation passport is the Mercury, the device that will be in next year. It's Android, not the BB10, but it's the shape of a classic and passport, some kind of mix between the two devices. So I think this is the next generation.
And I don't know whether I can trust the renders or whatever I've seen, but it's more of a 4x5 screen form factor than square, right?
It's more like a classic device, more than a passport. The keyboard of the passport, the screen of the classic, little much bigger, something like this.
Oh, so it has the classic form factor and not the passport form factor.
And it will run Android. I think Nougat.
So as far as Anthony, come on, we know what Anthony's talking about. Will we see a passport to BB10? Not anytime soon.
Certainly not this year, and very questionable next year.
Right.
2018, hey, that depends on how good things go for the rest of 2016 and all of 2017. That's when, if we're all lucky, we're going to see more BB10 action.
You can buy a passport SE, so this is the next generation of the original passport.
Yes, and in the meantime, BlackBerry is being very diligent about updating and improving the Android experience on their phones.
Yeah, and it really is just bringing Android to parity with BB10. We look at all these updates that we get nonstop, and yeah, there's security updates. There's the monthly security updates, which those really aren't BlackBerry generated, but they're ensuring that we get them. And then they're updating their own PIM apps, and there's a reason for that. They're bringing them to parity with BB10, and they're doing an amazing job of it. Now, will there be parts that are better than BB10 at some point? With the update cycle that we have going on right now, I fully expect it. I'll be honest, I prefer the way BBM groups are now handled in BlackBerry Android than they are in BB10. I really like what they did to BlackBerry groups in Android. But at the same time, I hate how channels are handled in Android. If I'm on channels, I'm on my passport. And so, I'm just waiting to see them handle Android channels the same way that they do BB10 channels, and then I'll be happy camper.
Well, I'm going to disagree with Brad on one thing, because I have to disagree with Brad on one thing at least once a week. And the thing I'm going to disagree with Brad on is that those security updates, they are BlackBerry generated. Show me who else is making sure that their cluster of handsets is getting security patches as frequently and as on time as BlackBerry. These things aren't coming from Google per se. Google has these things available, but somebody has to go gather them up, make sure they're good, and publish them and get them out there. And that's what BlackBerry does, and nobody else does that at such a regular frequency. They stated right out of the gate that that's what they were going to do, and they have done it flawlessly. Kudos to you dudes for keeping us as safe as you can be on an Android platform. So,
yeah, I agree. My brother has a LG G5, and he's still stuck on the June security patch for the LG G5. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Samsung, right. I don't know what they do, but they're not doing what BlackBerry does. HTC doesn't do it. Nobody else does it. Not as not as quickly and timely as BlackBerry does.
I mean, that you're absolutely right. BlackBerry's ensuring that they're pushing those security updates out, unless the American carriers are putting their foot in the way and bottlenecking them, which they have been doing. But BlackBerry's still providing it to their users. It's American carriers screwing it up. But those security patches, the monthly security patches, are coming from Google. They're coming from Google, and BlackBerry's sending them through, except for the quad router, which that patch came from Qualcomm, and Google took their time with it, which, I mean, they didn't really take their time with it. They patched the initial, what was it, the two, I think it was two, no, there's three that they put out with their monthly patch, and the fourth one came later, and so they just waited for the next month. BlackBerry didn't wait. They sent it out. So, I mean, yeah, BlackBerry is doing something that absolutely nobody else is doing. And honestly, Google could have said, and Android users could have said, well, Nexus is the first to get all of these all along, except I believe there is one point that that BlackBerry did beat the Nexus on one of Google's own security patches. I think that happened once. And then with this quad router, BlackBerry totally beat Google and beat the Nexus. So at this point, nobody else is coming close to BlackBerry and the security patches.
Right.
But I mean, they are the same patches that are being divvied out to all Android phones. It's not like there's a group of BlackBerry developers sitting there deciding to patch these Android things instead of working on BlackBerry 10, which is the idea that I get from a lot of our channel comments, is that's what people think is happening.
Right. Okay. No, that is absolutely what it is. Google puts them out there, but somebody has to go get them, make sure they're cool, package them up, make them available, and shove them out there. And BlackBerry's doing the best job at that.
Right.
All right, well, that's all I have for tonight. So unless anyone else has anything they want to add, that will be it.
Is there any news on Alpha Geek's new podcast?
I am waiting. I'm just waiting for my brother.
I'm just going to keep putting you on the spot every time I see you. That's what I'm doing.
The minute my brother is ready, I'm raring to go. I'm just waiting on him. He's dragging his feet with it, and I'm about to do it by myself. But the moment he's ready,
is he the beta geek? Are you the older one?
I'm the older one, yes. I'm the older one by 2 minutes.
Well, tell him to go watch an Apple event and get some courage. Because Lord only knows he needs courage. We all need some courage.
Speaking of courage, I spent, what was it, good half hour the other night trying to talk Dave into starting his own podcast. So any listeners that want to hear Dave crack jokes,
what would I crack jokes about?
Canuck VOIP at UTBblogs.com. That's how you get in contact with Dave and harass him.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Yeah, we could talk about quadcopters and drones and guitars and stuff.
See? Got it all planned. Whoop-dee. Okay, I'm done, Erica. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got the eye roll. I'm sorry. I'm still waiting on your next episode, but I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, what? Are you talking? I'm waiting to hear my next episode of Geeky.
Yeah,
just saying. I know. It'll happen. We had some technical difficulties recording the last episode, so we need to re-record.
Not only did we have technical difficulties, we had to wash out the main group's mouth with soap when she had those technical difficulties.
Ooh.
Yeah, don't piss off the redhead. Let me just say, if you want to keep the redhead happy, Eric, the redhead has a birthday coming up.
Yeah, we have screenshots for sale if anybody's interested.
Their doctor don't believe him. On that note, let's say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
You too. Take it easy. Thanks, guys.